All right, con. Right. Oh man, hold up. Okay, there we go. Yeah, first and foremost, I was at Salakia for this one. Usually, it's it's some kind of issue I have with my computer or the setup or StreamYard or Streamlabs or whatever. This one's me. I'll give y'all that. I was supposed to start at 5:30. It's 6:30. It is what it is, man. Lord's will be done. It's my fault completely, man. Salakia. But any further ado, I'm gonna say call Allah Yahweh Basham, Amashiach Yahweh Shai, and boy, boy, like so much stuff is going on. So much stuff is going on since I put this live stream out, like the announcement for this live stream. So much stuff has happened. Originally, I was just going to talk about the small hats being small hats and basically trying to make it seem like anybody who's left of center and who disagrees with MAGA or what they would call, like, I guess, supporting being pro-Israel, right? In the fullest sense, they're going to try to get these people arrested. I was just going to talk about that. But Ukraine had to just go ahead and just join the war. They just joined the war. And it has to be talked about, bro. Because not only is Ukraine joining the war, it said, bro, Ukraine, they got involved with Iraq. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm talking about. Like Syria, Iraq, the surrounding areas right around the river of Euphrates are getting into it, are joining the war. It's so much things that are happening. We got to talk about it. Must needs talk about it, right? Must needs talk about it. But let me get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. Hit that like button. If you ain't hit that like button, I don't know what you're doing, right? Right? And Ariella, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Let me just get this off real quick, right? Hit that like button if you ain't hit that like button, man. Show that love towards your brother. It's free. Batista Bomb, the like button, right? Show that love towards your brother. Leave a comment. Like, because speaking of comments, I dropped a video today. Where is this at? There we go. All right. I dropped a video today, which was basically, I just partitioned the part off of the live that I did yesterday about Galatians 3 and 8. And I want to do one other partition off of that too. People were, Christians were leaving their comments, ain't even watched the video. One person literally admitted and said, well, I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't watch your video, but you're wrong. Right? That blew my mind. I'm not gonna hold you. That right there blew. We're telling people they're wrong before even clicking the video and watching it for a second. Look, that's Christianity for you. These people are not of God. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like these modern day Christians can't possibly be of God. That's all presumption. But that comment, I saw it. I chuckled at work, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the help in the algorithm. So leave a comment. Tell us you're wrong. It's fine. It is what it is. Leave your comments. How much you either support us or against us. We're coming from the pits of hell, right? Same thing Christians always say about Hebrew Israelites. Share the video, right? We talked about some good stuff today. And if it be upon your heart, if you want to support us, you can do super chat or super things depending on when you're watching this, whether it's live or in the future. Hype the video after the video is over with. That's free, right? Because like I said yesterday in the last two live streams, YouTube is only showing this to only initially 20% of my audience, right? So when you don't hit that hype button, it doesn't go out to the rest of the subscribers. That's how the YouTube algorithm is working. It's on some BS. It is what it is. We gonna rock and roll with it, right? And if you want to support us directly, Cash App, the Masada DTX. We also have a PayPal for people who don't use Cash App and who are outside of the United States. That's in the description box, right? Also, for exclusive content, you can join the membership tier. We have different videos and have access to the Rebellion study group that we have. And with that, right? And with all that said, we got a packed show today, right? I'm just gonna rehash some things. No, I want to touch one thing Ariella said. Like this, the UK is allowing the United States to use its bases, which makes the UK now a target. And just imagine if they get hit. You know what that means? That's an automatic trigger to World War III. The rest of the NATO and EU nations have to jump in and join the battle. That's at that point, it's inevitable. It's completely inevitable, right? With all this stuff can go back to normal. I mean, kind of, maybe to a degree. But if that happens, just know we about to be up out of here. And if you ain't right, you're getting left, right? You're getting left. You don't want to be left, bro. You don't want to be left. So let's just jump into this, right? Let's just jump into this. Let me show y'all. This is from Valenti. I watch some of his videos sometimes. I'm not too much of a fan of him in comparison to like either Secular Talk or Breaking Points or Redacted. But I clicked on this today and looked at some other content. I'm like, okay, we're gonna make the video off of this. This is some very good content, and this is some very good talking points that we can talk through and work through with the Bible, right? So let's just jump into this. Wonder how close is ours? Look, look, is it? Or I don't know if that's a woman or a man, right? I don't know, but look, we close. Like I like this at this point. What I'm saying now, we got to be close, bro. Yeah, see, Ariella seen it. Valenti went into that. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Watch this.
Yeah, so this is World War III, like dead ass on God. This is World War III. The Ukraine war and the Iran war are merging into one.
They're merging into one. That's exactly how World War I started. It started with one conflict that branched off into different conflicts that all came back together to make one world war. That's the same thing that we're seeing right now with these two wars.
We talked about it yesterday that, Ukraine bombed an Iranian ship because the Iranians are supplying Russia with their, attack drones. So, like, of course, is that fair game? That's fair game. But at the same time, to risk opening up, or not, I was going to say opening up a third front, but to risk merging these wars into one is such a catastrophic mistake by Volodymyr Zelensky that I can't even stress how diabolical it is. At the same time, Trump currently, right now, he's having, or actually, no, right now is at Lindsey Graham's funeral. But
ironically enough, the warmonger in chief himself, Lindsey Graham, right now, while he's doing this video, Trump is asleep. Trump is like, if y'all go check it out right now, Trump is asleep at that funeral. Trump is asleep at the funeral of one of the biggest warmongers America's ever seen, Lindsey Graham, who was actually on camera because this is sidebar. He was on camera colluding with Benjamin Netanyahu to try to help get them aid and essentially do treason, right? He was at his funeral today asleep, passed out, ironically enough, while the world is devolving into a massive war. That's the guy y'all voted for, man. Make Babylon great again, right?
This morning, Trump had a meeting with both Zelensky and Netanyahu in the White House. And for a guy who says he's the most transparent president of all time, the entire meeting was a closed-door meeting. Nobody gets to know what was discussed in that meeting other than what Trump is going to claim. I mean, Trump and Caroline Leavitt have already claimed that both meetings went very well and they were very productive, which I call bullshit on. If you hear Luigi going crazy, it's because she's playing with beans. But yeah, on top of that, we have a couple of updates. The North Koreans have sent an additional 30,000 soldiers to fight for Russia in the Ukraine war. And as Ukraine...
What? I want y'all to hear that. Listen to what he just said.
We have a couple of updates. The North Koreans have sent an additional 30,000 soldiers to fight for Russia in the
North Koreans have sent 30,000 to fight for Russia against Vladimir Zelensky in Ukraine. Another nuclear world power. Various nuclear world powers. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Ariella, the kings of the East. The nuclear war powers are joining the fight. A new challenger approaches if you play Super Smash Brothers. That's where we're at right now. And you know what they're gonna do? And And all praises for it, right? All praises for them. But that's what they're gonna do. Right. Let's continue.
Ukraine war. And as Ukraine hits Iran near the Caspian Sea, things are getting incredibly messy. Things are getting incredibly fucking messy. We also have an update from the Pentagon as the U.S. casualty count has exceeded 600. We now have 624 U.S. casualties in the illegal and offensive war for Israel, known as.
Oh, but I thought America was doing all this winning. I thought y'all were doing all of this. Where happened to all of this winning? What? Hold on. Let me real quick. Oh, I can't move that. Let me do one thing. Let me do one thing real quick. Where is this? Let me do that. So let's put that 2. Put that right here. Nah, that puts me up. You know, whatever. We're going back to regular. There we go. Right. See, that's why I don't like StreamYard, because it's always something, right? But this right here, bro.
Operation casualty count has exceeded 600. We now have 600.
Also, Shalom, also in the chat. I thought we were doing all this winning. What happened to all the winning? At first, it was only 18 people dead. You know, we didn't hear nothing else. Now it's 600 people, 600 wounded. I thought there was winning. I thought you'd want to win so much that you'd be tired of winning. You're gonna say, "Oh, I don't want to win so much," but you're gonna keep on winning. That's what you were doing. But now we're hearing more. Now you're finally getting found out. That skirt is getting lifted. That's where we at right now. The Bible talks about making Esau bare, right? And we know that's ultimately them going to just be them being destroyed and being laid waste and just all of that. But we're seeing like shadows of that right now. They talk a good game. They've got everybody bamboozled to thinking, oh, we can do whatever we want. America's built to fight a war in 1950s. That's it. Y'all have not prepared yourself to fight with drones or any type of modern warfare. While the rest of the nations are playing Modern Warfare 4 from Activision, y'all are playing goddamn Black Ops Cold War or something like that. Right? That's what y'all are doing. That's the war that y'all are prepared for. And all of this, all of the technology and all the wisdom that you get from using all this technology that comes from modern warfare has passed America by. Right. And that's why we're seeing soldiers get hurt, soldiers be maimed, soldiers coming back with PTSD because y'all are not prepared to fight this. You are not prepared to fight the war that you're in right now. That the Operation Epstein assault is going to probably be the destruction of Babylon. That's where we at right now, bro. It's probably Operation Epstein Fury is going to be. It could. I'm not saying going to be. Could be the destruction of Babylon the Great. And imagine coming back from that, losing arms and legs to fight for the Epstein class. Right. That's where we're at in 2026.
624 U.S. casualties in the illegal and offensive war for Israel, known as Operation Epstein's Fury. Granted, that's just the number that they'll allow us to, know, considering that number is definitely way fucking higher than what they're letting us know. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that real quick. If you're new here, hi, how are you? I'm Chris from YouTube ad. Satan Yahoo, who was live update. Incredibly long way, and it gives you access to every single one of my YouTube videos for $7, whatever you want to donate. It goes an incredibly long way, and it gives you access to every single one of my YouTube videos without the YouTube ads if you don't have YouTube Premium. All right, without further ado, we're just going to dive right into the shit. So the first thing I want to talk about is this.
Also, I don't know why I haven't done it yet. Let's do this. I always forget. Usually somebody in the chat lets me know, you guys are slacking. You're supposed to let me know. You're supposed to let me know to use the fair use. Right? Y'all not loving your brother, bro. You're not loving your brother. You're supposed to let me know about the fair use, right? So fair use is for the purposes such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research, all things we will employ in this live, right? Y'all can't just let me be out here slacking like that and slipping like that. You gotta love your brother, bro.
Trump regime live updates. Trump meets with Netanyahu and Zelensky as wars continue in Iran and Ukraine. Netanyahu in Washington. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel met with the pedophile Führer at the White House. Mr. Netanyahu, who was making his first trip to Washington since the U.S. and Israel went to war together against Iran earlier this year, said before the meeting that Iran would be, quote, first and foremost on the agenda. I would also like to point out that it is not coincidental that Netanyahu makes his first visit to the U.S. since the war began the weekend that Trump decided to stop bombing Iran. If you don't know, we had been bombing Iran for like 13 consecutive days in a row. And then on Friday, Trump was given information that we are completely out of ammunition and that if we continue this, we won't even have the interceptors for the upcoming Iranian attacks, or God forbid, if China decided to take Taiwan, we genuinely wouldn't even be able to defend.
See, they're already there. So it's at this point, China just sitting back. China has been, and that's probably why they haven't been buying all that oil. That's probably what they probably were just letting America slip up, right? Satan Yahoo is coming, bro. That dude is Satan, bro. I ain't gonna hold you, right? I don't care if they think that's what they call, quote unquote anti-Semitic. That man is Satan. It's not because of who he is. It's not because of the color of his skin. It's because of his actions. Now that doesn't help either, but you know what I mean, right? but this goes back into what we were saying. But I was talking to Ariella about this. Like, China is going to take Taiwan. They told Trump, like, no, we can't keep bombing every single day. Well, they had, what was it, like 13 days? 13 days. We can't keep bombing because we will run out of interceptors and munitions, right? We will run out of all of that, and we won't be prepared for when China tries to go take Taiwan, which they said they were going to do very soon. I think I was talking to Ariella. They said it was like 27 to 28, one of those, right? That's what they're attempting to do. Y'all are not going to be prepared to do that. Y'all going to have to give that up. And nobody's talking. I don't know why people aren't talking about how consequential that would be. Do you know who's in charge of chips? Right? You know who's making chips, superconductors, and all that? Taiwan. Do you know what's going to go up when China takes Taiwan? Superconductors and chips. Do you know what you need to do anything in America technologically? Superconductors and chips. Y'all like y'all's iPhone, like, you iPhone users, So y'all got Ariellas like we bigs ups to the iPhone users. I'm big Samsung, right? We got the Galaxy, and I love it, right? It's a superior phone. I don't care, right? But we won't. Nobody, like, y'all have the ability to spend like $1,000 on a phone. Like, y'all break it up into different cycles, like into various different installments you pay along with your phone bill, right? Y'all enjoyed the luxury of only having to spend $1,000. But if China takes Taiwan and they want to like put anything, like any type of tariff or whatever they want on superconductors, or just make it to where America can't buy them at all, it's over with. Whatever iPhone you got, you're going to be stuck with it. Whatever Galaxy you got, you're going to be stuck with it, right? Whatever tech you got, you are going to be stuck with it. I told people, if you follow me on Facebook, I said earlier in this year, buy you a computer. That's what I did. I bought me a new gaming computer with a 5060 in it and an i5 in it, which is 14th generation. I'm good for a minute, right? I'm good for a minute. I told y'all to buy you a computer because the longer this goes on, and RAM goes up, and GPUs go up, all the things you need for a computer, which is also in cell phones, which is also in your TVs, you're about to get priced out. Now, God forbid China takes Taiwan, because I'm gonna tell you this: America is not prepared for it, bro. It's not prepared for it, bro. Look at this, right? 100%, bro. 100%. But they told Trump, you have to stop bombing because we don't have the munitions and interceptors to stop this. And what's crazy is, as soon as he did that, now here comes Satan Yahoo. Oh, we gotta fly her. We gotta have a conversation. Because they want that forever war. That's what they want. That's where we're at in 2026.
And I don't know why I said God forbid, because I fully advocate for China taking Taiwan. I don't understand why the United States has control over it, but that's a topic for another day.
Chips. That's why.
Hey, Let's keep on listening here, or reading. Zelensky visit. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine also met with the pedophile at the White House on Tuesday as their once fractured relationship appeared to be getting stronger. Mr. Zelensky said they discussed diplomacy and the pedophile's pledge to allow Ukraine to produce U.S.-designed Patriot air defense systems, which is hilarious because we can't even design them, like we can't even make any. It takes 1 year to create Patriot missiles. Just so you understand, we have blown through, I think it's 80% of our Patriot missiles in 5 months of the war against Iran, right? So the United States of America is not necessarily capable of winning a conventional war because we are not fighting conventionally. I know you might think that jets and helicopters and ballistic missiles are conventional warfare. It's not. Conventional warfare is robots and drones and one-way attack UAVs, right? It is not who's got the more expensive and faster missile. That's not how war is fought nowadays. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, said on social media that the pedophile Führer's meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel has concluded. Earlier in the day, the president also met with President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine. Quote, both meetings were positive and productive, Leavitt said. We often see Trump decide to open up meetings with visiting leaders for at least a few minutes. A White House official said that today's discussion remained closed to the press because the president considers them working meetings. Not that this usually stops him from calling in reporters, but the Israelis have already released photos of Netanyahu sitting next to the pedophile Führer in the Oval Office with vice pedophile J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marcus Aurelius Rubio.
Vice pedophile. It's too late. It's too late. He's already fucked it up, right? He's already fucked it. Vice pedophile is hilarious, bro. Vice pedophile is hilarious, but I couldn't have thought of anything better myself.
Rubius, and Secretary of War Crimes Pete Kegsbreth, the Defense Secretary, all nearby. Steve Witkoff, the President's special envoy, was also there, along with the Israeli ambassador Yechiel Later and Netanyahu's national security advisor Shmuel Ben Ezra. So we have the main players of the U.S. aligned side of World War III all meeting together, okay? Now, I do have a map that I'm going to bring up towards the end of this video to try and better visualize or better explain to you what the two sides of World War III are looking like right now, because it's becoming increasingly more obvious that this is a complete and total global conflict. So
yeah, it's coming. It's being shown to be completely obvious that this is a growing worldwide conflict. Do you know what another phrase is for worldwide conflict? World War III. That's where we're at. That is where we're at. And when we go through and look through this, we're going to see like everything is shaping up, bro. Everything is shaping up. And then on top of that, on top of World War III being around the corner, America is also on a time clock of when they're about to bottom out of oil. So who knows what Trump is going to go ahead and try to. It's crazy you said that, Ariel. I was just about to say that too. Since America is on a time clock, two time clocks, right? One of them when America is going to run out of oil with the strategic reserves and the midterm elections. That's coming up. And if that goes how everybody's saying it's going to go, Trump's presidency is going to be in trouble. It's going to be all like I say all that to say this. Like stuff is about to happen quickly. Something is going to have to happen quickly. Because they said we got like 40 something. I think on the last live we said we got like 40 something days. Sometimes they say like what 40 to 90 days, something like that. And that's still before the midterms. So something's gonna have to happen before then. Like I'm telling you, like it's that too, Ariella. Like it might get to a point where he might invalidate the election, or there might not be an election. And if he do that, these Caucasian patriots. I need y'all to see this. These Caucasian patriots will go nuts, whether it's the Republicans or whether it's the Democrats. You talking about doing something that we see in Europe. That's something you see in Europe. When that happens here, oh Lord. Oh Lord. Right? Oh Lord. But if that happens, look. It's over with, bro. It's over with. So I say all that to say this. Like there's a time crunch that America is on to either take a shit or get off the pot, right? For them to take the shit is they're going to either have to send in ground troops or get a 25 kill streak and call in the tactical nuke, right? That's the only two options y'all have. Waiting them out isn't working. They had somebody who flew over to Iran and then saw how the economy was and how the stores were full of food and all things was going like their economy is going on like Tehran's going on like how it has been prior to the war. So waiting them out isn't going to work for America. something is going to have to happen. That's where we're at right now. I must stress that, right? I can't wait till Americans and their whole power grid down after it hit by, I forgot who taught a lesson about there would be EMP. I don't think there's going to be, like, how would I explain that? Right. I don't think, like, if there's going to be an EMP, I think it's going to be right before Babylon's destroyed. I don't think there's just going to be one and then you're going to just be here without power, because the mark of the beast won't work. Right. The mark of the beast for technology. Right. I know this because I went to school and did like computer science things. They need electricity for them to hold data and store data. The market, the MOB or RFID chip has to have a certain amount of electricity to store it. Just like when if y'all had like an old Game Boy, right? The battery in it had to maintain a little bit of power in it to save your Pokemon game, right? To save you being in Saffron City about to fight the gym leader. You had to have a little bit of charge, a little bit of juice in that circular round little battery thing so that the game could save your file and store your data. The RFID chip has to have that same exact thing. So if there's an EMP, any of those that's already made or exist are not going to work. And I'll tell you this right now. How else is that prophecy going to be fulfilled? If there's an EMP earlier than before the war and all that, I don't know how the mark of the beast prophecy would come to pass. And we know the Lord's not a liar, right? With the technology we have now, I don't know how that could be. But I could see one prior to when the missiles are coming and then boom, the power goes out. I can see that. And Lord, would that be scary? Right? That would be scary.
I want to show you some CNN coverage here of Putin on the verge of getting an additional 30,000 North Korean troops. Maybe some of you forgot this, but North Korea has been fighting for the Russians in the Ukraine war since the beginning of the war, and now North Korea is getting even more involved. Here's CNN's coverage.
Kim Jong-un's massive troop buildup for Vladimir Putin. Ukrainian President Zelensky warning Russia wants another 30,000 troops from North Korea to fight on the front line. Now, facing a hard reality at home, which is that the average lifespan of a Russian soldier from training to combat is only between 10 days to 3 weeks, according to Foreign Policy magazine and British intelligence.
Oh, that's fucking brutal, bro. That's World War I type shit.
Will Ripley is out front.
At a cemetery for North Korea's fallen soldiers this weekend.
World War I. All right, speaking of World War I, that's what I know I wanted to get to harp on. Let me scoop this back a little bit.
Ezra. I'm going to bring up towards the end of this video to try and better visualize of the U.S. aligned side of World War III all meeting together, okay? Now, I do have a map.
So I wanted to highlight this, and then I wanted to go to the slide that I had. Well, not even a slide, it's a website, right? So the major players of what they would call this world conflict or World War III, right, are meeting together. And they're doing that because of these wars are emerging, more nations are getting involved, right? That's the same thing that happened in World War I, right? So you look at this is the history channel, right? It says how a regional conflict snowballed into World War I. So when you scroll down, we're not going to read all of this. I just want to highlight some things. So you look at this, I don't need that. It said these alliances created a balance of power in Europe that some hoped would actually prevent war. Yet for many countries, the alliances made them feel like they had no choice but to join the growing international conflict. Does that not sound like what we're seeing now? Korea's doing that. Let's continue. So when you scroll down a little bit more about the alliances, it's a World War I had two main factions, the Central Powers, which included Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, and the Allies, which included France, Great Britain, Russia, Italy, Japan, and later the United States. With the exception of Italy, which switched sides, which who's surprised by that with these people? It says most of these alliances had roots in pre-war agreements, just like how we have now. A lot of these nations have pre-war agreements. Us, like America, with NATO and EU. But we see in prophecy like Revelation chapter 17, these horns these horns that are on the beast, the whore, the great prostitute is riding, which is Babylon the Great, right? These horns, which is NATO and EU, they're going to turn on the whore. So now you're going to see people switching sides, which sounds exactly like this. That's prophetic. That has to happen. So we're going to see that. And Ariella brought this up last time we was on live. Part of that could be with Turkey, and Israel trying to invade Turkey. That could cause all of that, right? We gonna see. I mean, because we at this point, I think we might be the generation to see this. So let me see. A lot of animosity is back to the front. Let me scoot down a little bit more. Yeah, how the alliances played out during the war. So no, that's not what I want. The declarations of war began. This is what I want to talk about. Right. This is but on July 28th. Oh, that's crazy. That's today. But on July 28th, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Over the next week and a half, Germany declared war on Russia and France. Right, different wars coming together as one war. Right, Britain declared war on Germany, and Austria-Hungary declared war on Russia. The justification that Britain gave for entering the war didn't even have to do with its triple entente. I've never heard. I think that's agreement. What is that? What's that word? Yep, agreement. Figures. Right. With France and Russia, it had to do with the much older Treaty of London, also called the First Treaty of London, in 1839. That mandated Belgium should always be a neutral state. But when Britain entered the war, it argued that Germany had violated its treaty by invading Belgium, by doing their own exploits, right? That caused another war. You now violated this treaty, so now we're going to war. So various different wars coming together to snowball into this one great war. That's how World War I happened. That's where we at now. You see what Vladimir Zelensky. Well, look, we're gonna continue. Let me see. Let's read a little bit more. This is over the next 4 years. Many other nations entered the war. Japan joined the Allies at the end of August 1914. That's a long time. This is in November. The Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers. The next year, Italy joined the war to fight against Germany and Austria and Hungary, with whom it had previously formed an alliance. In 1917, the United States joined the Allies, right? So that's also a shadow of what we see with the horns in Revelation chapter 17. People switching sides, people turning coats. That's what the Lord says is going to happen, so it will happen. So let's continue with this video, right?
App that I'm going to bring up towards the end of this video to try and better visualize or better explain to you what the two sides of World War III are looking like right now, because it's becoming increasingly more obvious that this is a complete and total global conflict. So I want to show you some CNN coverage here of Putin on the verge of getting an additional 30,000 North Korean troops. Maybe some of you forgot this, but North Korea has been fighting for the Russians in the Ukraine war since the beginning of the war. And now North Korea is getting even more involved. Here's CNN's coverage.
Kim Jong-un's massive troop buildup for Vladimir Putin. Ukrainian President Zelensky warning Russia wants another 30,000 troops from North Korea to fight on the front line. Now, facing a hard reality at home, which is that the average lifespan of a Russian soldier from training to combat is only between 10 days to 3 weeks, according to Foreign Policy magazine and British intelligence.
Oh, that's fucking brutal, bro. That's World War I type shit.
Will Ripley is out front. Between 10 days to 3 weeks, according to Foreign Policy magazine.
So from training, they have 10 days to 3 weeks before they die. That's the average soldier lifespan in this war. That's nuts. Just imagine if America starts seeing that type of turnover, and you're gonna see that with that ground invasion too. Look, we might see some shit here, bro.
And British intelligence.
Oh, that's fucking brutal, bro. That's World War I type shit.
Will Ripley is out front.
At a cemetery for North Korea's fallen soldiers this weekend, Kim Jong-un, his wife, and daughter walked past the graves of Korean War dead. Now, Ukraine says Kim could send 30,000 more North Korean troops into another war. For Russian President Vladimir Putin, Kim sent more than 100 soldiers to march in Moscow's Victory Day parade in May. South Korea and Western militaries estimate more than 10,000 North Korean troops helped Russian forces recapture the Kursk region. And soon, Putin may be getting something even bigger from his partner in Pyongyang, says Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky, set to meet President Trump tomorrow in the Oval Office, a White House official says.
Could you imagine being Ukrainian and just hearing, like, around the corner, Hamsamniga! oh, like, dude, I would freak the fuck out.
Russia wants to bring in another 30,000 North Korean troops, Zelensky says, adding Ukraine's military has solid reports. Preparations are underway to receive them. He says they're headed to southwestern Russia, about 150 miles from.
And Ariel, I think you see, I saw what made me think about what I'm about to say is seeing that picture of Vladimir Zelensky. So he suspended the elections in Ukraine because of war. Look, if Trump is moving with this man, I would not be surprised if he suspended the midterms, because it's already bad. Bro, I saw a poll today, like the Democrats were up by like double digits. Like we've had some midterms that's been really, really bad for the president that's sitting in office, usually a lame duck. It's usually bad, but it ain't been this bad. That man might suspend the elections. Might suspend the elections and do this draft. I would not be surprised.
From Ukraine's border. Zelensky says Kim may also be sending several ballistic missile launchers. North Korean missiles are a lethal part of Putin's war machine. Ukraine says they're growing more accurate with every strike. Russia is helping North Korea learn how to wage war, improve its weapons, and gain real combat experience, Zelensky says. Kim built a new war memorial in Pyongyang with thousands of graves and space.
Dude, I love how they make them cry. I don't know if you know this, but like when the camera is on you in North Korea as one of these soldiers, like whether it be for a dead North Korean dictator or for dead North Korean soldiers, you have to fucking sob, bro.
For many more. Ukraine's military estimates more than 6,000 North Koreans have already been injured or killed fighting for Russia, part of Putin and Kim's deepening anti-West, anti-U.S. alliance. A drastically different outcome than the vision of Kim's grandfather, North Korea's founder Kim Il-sung, who once hosted former U.S. President Jimmy Carter.
And I recall Kim Il-sung saying to me, we want to have good relations with the United States. That's all gone now.
Former CNN Beijing bureau chief Mike Chinoy made 17 reporting trips to North Korea. He says after Trump's diplomacy collapsed, Kim made a hard pivot to Russia and never looked back.
And I don't.
Yeah, art of the deal, right? Art of the deal. Trump goes over to North Korea.
He said, nah, I'm not getting with this. I'm going with Russia, man. They're already right here. They ain't on this BS. This dude's over here fighting a war for Epstein. We're about to go over here. That's what
he crosses the 38th parallel. He shakes Kim Jong-un's hand.
You know what be killing me too? Bro, I don't know about y'all. I watch the news. Anybody can ask my wife. I watch the news religiously every single day. When I'm at work, when I'm at home, when I'm playing Expedition 33 on my PC, I listen to the news. Right? I'm in the know. I know what's going on. Have y'all just had a conversation with y'all's coworkers? These people have no idea what's happening. Like when you read about it, the days that like when the kingdom of heaven comes, like, you know, when it's the day of the Lord, the day for us to be redeemed, right? Christ talked about it's going to be like the days of Noah. People are going to be eating and drinking, right? Marrying and doing various different revelings, right? Until it was time to go into the ark. That is what I see with these people. There's no attempt to build their ark mentally or spiritually whatsoever. These people are just go to work every day and be NPCs. Like my parents asked me, why you not get you a house? Why you not get you a house? You could get you a house for 2% or 3% down. I said 2% of what? 2% of 8%? 2% of 12%? No, like look, it's so over, and the fact that people don't understand that it's over blows my mind, right? Just every time I have the conversation.
In North Korea, I think the first U.S. president to ever step foot in North Korea since the war, and immediately diplomacy collapses and they start like sending the Russians weaponry and shit. Friendly reminder that Trump also had like a failed assassination attempt of Kim Jong-un. This was very loosely reported, where it was like a group of Navy SEALs were discovered by a North Korean fisherman. And the Navy SEALs executed all of them. And then when they realized their cover had been blown, they fucking dipped it out of there. That really happened during Trump's second term.
I think he's interested anymore in having that kind of relationship, because I don't think he trusts the United States.
Instead, Ukraine says Kim is betting big on Moscow, a bet that could soon mean another 30,000 North Korean troops fighting for Russia. And tonight, despite thousands of North Korean troops fighting for Russia, only 2 2 are known to have been captured alive, Aaron. Ukrainian officials say that's because North Korean soldiers are under orders to avoid capture at all costs. Kim Jong-un has even praised what state media called soldiers who self-blasted with grenades rather than
Jesus Christ, bro.
surrender. Ukrainian forces say some North Korean soldiers have even shouted Kim's name before pulling the pin on those grenades, Aaron.
Dude, the North Koreans are acting like the Imperial Japanese Army did in World War II, death before dishonor type shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will Ripley, thank you very much.
Joining me now is Evelyn Farkas, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Russia, Ukraine, and Eurasia, currently Executive Director at the McCain Institute. Evelyn, good to have you back.
Thank you, Jim. Likewise, it's great to be back.
So first, the experience of North Korean soldiers on the Ukrainian front lines has not been good, based on CNN and others reporting that the casualty rate has been enormously high, much as it has been for Russian forces there.
I don't think anybody's experience in the Ukraine war has been good.
This strategically significant for North Korea if they were to send 30,000 troops? Do you see that changing the dynamic on the front line?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to first add to what Mike Chinoy said, because I went to North Korea, including to Yongbyon, the nuclear facility, in 2008, when President George W. Bush was trying.
Also, real quick, I want to point out the fact that North Korea is a perfect example of why the Hasanabe nuclear doctrine matters so much. We have not fucked with North Korea ever since they got a nuclear weapon. We don't fuck with China. We don't fuck with Russia. The nations that have nuclear weapons, we do not have the balls to fuck with, which is why I openly support Iran getting a nuclear weapon, either developing it or having one sold to them by the Russians or the Chinese. The only possible way for Iran to get the access of Epstein, the United States and Israel to withdraw, is if they hold up that fucking nuke and say, look what I got. Look what I got.
And that's why Israel doesn't want them to have that. If Israel knows that they have a nuke, they're going to have to just accept the fact that Iran is going to have the hegemony over there in the Middle East, and they can't have that for the Greater Israel Project. It's impossible for them to have that if Iran has the hegemony. That's why America's fighting this war for the Epstein class and for Israel, which is still technically the Epstein class, but. So like it, right? It still is the Epstein class, but that's the whole reason why this is happening, so Israel can maintain their hegemony in the Middle East.
Yeah, so this is World War III.
Oh shoot, did I just do that? That's fine. I can screw it.
And sources in the U.S. intelligence community which were reported upon, that the North Koreans got some technology from Russia to improve their missile capability. So space, intellectual property pertaining to space. That they also are helping the North Koreans. That Russia is also helping the North Koreans with nuclear submarine technology. So these things are really valuable to Kim Jong-un. So I think he'll say, yeah, I'll keep sending the troops.
So this is already an expansion of Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine to have North Korea, a fellow nuclear power, involved. Now you have Ukraine striking Iranian ships, bringing drones to Russia.
Dude, I feel like I don't even have to sell it. This is World War III. World War III began 4 years ago when Russia invaded Ukraine. That was the first inkling. I mean, you could even argue that it began even further back when Russia invaded Crimea. The whole fucking thing stems from the goddamn Russians, dude.
Yeah, and we said that years ago. Back when we was in Saqqara, we said that years ago. This is like a world war, and really wars. They don't just start with, somebody just invaded somebody, or that's not just the finality of it. It can take years. It can take other nations being involved. It can take everything we're seeing right now. But the initial flame to that World War III is that Ukrainian war. That's what it is. All of this stems back to that.
And of course, those Iranian Shahed drones have had enormous deadly impact on Ukraine. And you also have, of course, the Houthis now threatening shipping in the Red Sea. Just as you see a new front in the Iran war and a connection between the Iran war and the Ukraine war, does that give you fears of just a broader regional escalation?
Friendly reminder that both world wars, World War I and II, were not only fought in Europe, they were also fought in the fucking Middle East, okay? These two, and also the Middle East is not far away from Europe. Iran and Ukraine are very, very close to each other, considering the fact that we in the U.S. have an entire fucking ocean between us and the Iranians that we're waging war with.
No, Jim, only because they've been.
So I want to highlight something too. All right, like this is something that, I mean, if you don't know the Bible that well, you're not going to know what Ariel is meaning by unwalled villages. When we return back to our land, it's going to be cooked, right? like we ain't gotta worry about kicking the small hats out or the shekel stranglers. We don't have to worry about dealing with that because it's going to be cooked already. Let me show you where we're getting that from. So Ezekiel 34. No, Ezekiel 38. True. This takes place right as we've been delivered. So when you look at this is when Gog and Magog comes against us after we've been delivered out of our land. Right? This is Ezekiel 38:7. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into a land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people. This is making reference to us, the Israelites, being delivered from our land, like delivered from Babylon and brought back into our land. Nothing's built. It's leveled there. So that's coming for these people's, the shekel shackers, the small hats. That's going to be in their future according to the Bible. Right? I don't know why they're rushing to make this happen. Because they, just like how the Zionists over here believe that this is going to fulfill some messianic prophecy, like they over there believe the same thing. So I don't know why they're rushing for this to happen. I mean, their rabbis don't know the Bible anyway, but I mean, this seems like something that's kind of milk. When you just read it, I don't think there needs to be a great breakdown to it. But that land's going to be melted, right? It's going to be cooked. It's going to be destroyed. So it says, after many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Right? Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Right, which is kind of leading into Jehoshaphat. Right, verse 10 and 11 is the point. Thus saith the Lord, it shall also come to pass that at that same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, having neither bars nor gates. So this is literally right after we've been delivered out of Babylon the Great and out of the surrounding areas back into our land. It's not built yet. It's not pre-built. So when Christians say like they see New Jerusalem coming down and the cities are going to fall, no, that's not what's going to happen. That's making reference to people being delivered and brought back, and it's going to be dilapidated, and the heathen have to come and build it back up after this destruction that we see in Ezekiel 38 and 39. Right? So that's what Ariel is talking about, and that's what I be meaning when we talk about the unwalled villages are loaded, because they're making this happen by continuing in this war. Like, it's really at this point, like, since America is out of interceptors, that also means Israel's out of interceptors. So Iran, if they wanted to rain on them, they could. And it just is what it is. So we see this. We see how this can happen. So let's go back into this.
Been helping one another all along. It just hasn't been as public. You heard Zelensky saying that Russia provided, intelligence to the Iranians to target U.S. forces in the Middle East. The Iranians have been providing they provided the first Shahed drones to Russia, which then Russia improved upon and then sent back the technologically improved drones to Iran. So they've been collaborating all along. China, of course, sells to both sides in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But I think we need to understand that these are adversaries working together, and this just makes it much more obvious because it's out there now in the Middle East.
Kim, let's start with Ukraine, as that's the first meeting that's going to happen this morning, and it's part of Lindsey Graham's legacy as well. How different are the circumstances? Are you seeing, viewing, and hearing, and the relationship between Trump and Zelensky now versus what we've seen between those two men in the past?
Well, it's definitely warmed up, and President Zelensky is coming in with the backdrop of winning on the battlefield. At least that is the perception worldwide, that Ukraine is really getting some traction, especially the way it is menacing Moscow and St. Petersburg. President Putin just had a Navy Day parade yesterday, which was just 40 sailors in front of a big mural of a submarine, whereas in the past it was several, dozens of ships, submarines.
Russians from bombing their action.
It was several, dozens of ships, submarines, thousands.
Dude, the fucking Russians are putting up essentially like fishing line nets all over their major cities because Ukrainian drones are pelting Moscow, dude. Like, the Russians are incapable of preventing the Ukrainians from bombing their actual cities, the same way that the Ukrainians are incapable of preventing the Russians from bombing their actual cities. And listen, as much as I support Ukraine's fight against the Russians, they are a nuclear armed nation. You are playing with fire. This is not something to be joked around with.
The troops, but 2 years in a row, they've had to cancel that because of the drone threat from the Ukrainians. So that is the kind of thing that makes Zelensky look like he's winning to Trump. And Zelensky is also bringing intelligence to back up his claims over the weekend that Russia is sharing satellite imagery with Iran to help Iran strike U.S. targets in the Gulf.
Yeah, motherfuckers will still say that this isn't a goddamn world war. All right, here's some updates from Battlefield Fan Peak. The Iranian-designed drones have wreaked havoc for Ukrainian forces battling Russian troops as Moscow took Tehran's technology and ran with it, supercharging production and deploying drones in devastating droves in its all-out war against Kyiv. As far as Ukraine is concerned, that makes Iran an indirect combatant, and that means Iranian cargo ships heading to Russia are fair game as far as the military targets go. That's what happened this weekend in the Caspian Sea. And
that's how these wars begin. Since Iran makes military equipment for Russia, and they're sending it to them to help aid them in modern warfare using drones, Ukraine is deciding to attack Iran ships, which makes them now both combatants with each other. World War III.
Tehran is not happy. Moscow's 53-month-old invasion has scrambled politics for Europe. The U.S.-Israeli war with Iran has scrambled politics for the Middle East. So what do Ukrainian strikes on Iranian cargo or Russian ships in the Caspian mean for the two wars? Quote, if the Ukrainians continue doing this, it's going to obviously make it more difficult for both Iran and Russia, said Nicole Grajewski, a Russia-Iran expert with Sciences Po, whatever the fuck that means, the famed French university. But she added, I don't see this as being a fundamental game changer in the war. The Ukrainian strike against an Iranian ship represents a significant shift in tactics and sends a clear message that Ukraine will not tolerate aggression, regardless of where it originates, said Luke Kofi, a Russia expert at the Hudson Institute, a Washington think tank. Quote, I suspect these types of operations will make shipping between Russia and Iran across the Caspian increasingly difficult. Tehran leaves no inaction unanswered. The circumstances of the July 25th incident are murky. Ukraine's main domestic intelligence agency, the SBU, said drones hit a Russian missile boat called the Molniya, along with two cargo ships, it said, quote, were under international sanctions and were used to transport military cargo between Iran and Russia. Ukraine had, quote, achieved very strong results with long-range strikes in the Caspian Sea, including vessels used in military cargo shipments involving Iran, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said in a post to Telegram. That description points to two Russian-flagged cargo ships called the Port Olia II and the Begi, both of which are under international sanctions stemming from the Ukraine war. It is unknown exactly what the ships were transporting. After receiving thousands of Iranian-built kamikaze drones in the initial months after February 2022, Russia had set up its own assembly plants and added new enhancements to the original Iranian designs. Iranian authorities reacted angrily to the ship attack, saying one sailor was killed and vowing retaliation. So now you have Iran vowing retaliation against Ukraine.
Yeah, they're vowing retaliation against Ukraine. What does that mean? They're going to retaliate against another country who's in another war with their ally. World War III.
Ukraine's top diplomat in Tehran was summoned to the foreign ministry in protest. Quote, Zelensky has attacked an Iranian commercial vessel, killing a sailor, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said in a post on X, calling it, quote, a blatant United Nations Charter violation done at Israel's behest to drag Europe into this war. Kyiv will soon learn that Tehran leaves no action unanswered, Ibrahim Azizi, who heads the National Security Committee in Iran's parliament, said in another post. The Kremlin also weighed in, with spokesman Dmitry Peskov telling reporters that the Ukrainian attack should be seen as an attack on Iran itself. Angry rhetoric aside, it's unclear to what extent Iran would be able to retaliate. Quote, Tehran is clearly angry, but it has very limited ability to project military power against Ukraine, said Syed Gulkar, an expert on Iran's military who was a professor at the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga. Quote, if it decides to respond, I'd expect something indirect, such as cyber operations, intelligence activity, support for Russian operations.
I don't know about that. They're hitting Kuwait. So I don't like, Ukraine is not very far away from them. Like off the cat, like Ukraine's not very far away from them. How are they not going to be able to do anything about it?
Or possibly targeting Ukrainian interests abroad rather than a conventional military strike. Quote, it's not necessarily in Iran's best interest to bring Ukraine into this conflict, and I don't think it's in Russia's either, Grajewski said. The Russians may be putting pressure on Iran to kind of restrain themselves. God almighty, this shit is getting so fucking out of hand. Meanwhile, on the domestic front, the Pentagon is slowly starting to release the real number of U.S. casualties, which is exactly what I fucking told you would happen a couple months back. I said, I guarantee you the U.S. has taken hundreds of casualties and they're going to do a slow drip release of that number rather than just shocking the entire U.S. population all at once, going like, hey, in the first week, we lost 500 troops. Instead, they're doing this slow drip. So now we're finding out 5 months into the war that the U.S. casualty numbers have peaked 600.
And that's important to know because that's what they did in the past wars, like the Vietnam War and all the more modern wars that they've had. They slow drip the amount of casualty reports that they put out to the public because they didn't want people to freak out about it. And imagine they showed that to us over here in America when it happened. This is already the most least popular war in American history. When they've done the polls, I should have pulled that up too. This is this is more hated than the Vietnam War already. And the reason, and I saw this on Breaking Points, they say because people realize there's no intelligent reason to be there. They don't know how it helps the American people. They don't understand why we should have to pay at the pump. We don't understand why we're just doing this in general. You're committing war crimes. Like, they hate this. Everybody hates this. Now, when you add a high casualty rate on top of all that, oh, it's going to be bad for you. Oh, it's true. It's damn true, like Kurt Angle says, right? That's what they will know, and they're gonna see that reckoning. They would see a major reckoning at midterms. Had that all came out at one time, like it's already bad for them when you look at the Republicans versus the Democrats losing control, like the Republicans losing control of the House and the Senate. It was already looking bad for them before. Just imagine if they do a ground invasion and all these people get cooked because of them drones. It's all Trump. I fully believe Trump will cancel the election. I fully believe it. Because there's no going back, bro. There is no going back at all.
Some CNN coverage
updated its war casualty database, adding more than 140 wounded and restoring 4 soldiers killed in Iranian strikes last weekend since the U.S. launched its war with Iran on February 28th. 18 U.S. troops
have died and
624 have been wounded. Now, this comes after the Pentagon faced scrutiny last week when an apparent data glitch on the website meant the casualty numbers actually decreased. Well, CNN's Dave Swinky joining me from Atlanta for more. Understandably, people now seeking further detail on the latest casualties, the updated figures, who they are, how they were injured, and why it is that these numbers were reduced over the weekend, not increased. Davis, what do we know at this point?
Becky, this saga is really interesting in that it goes a lot to show the way that this Pentagon's approach to transparency breaks from that of previous administrations. They've been treating the defense casualty.
Yeah, they're supposed to be the most transparent administration we've ever seen. Okay.
Analysis system.
Where's the rest of the files? Where's the rest of the files at, Trump? PDF in chief. Where are the rest of the files at? Oh, wait a minute. I know where they are. We got to go contact Benjamin Netanyahu. He knows where they're at.
this online database as the ongoing source of truth that the public and the media can access for updated information on war casualties. The issue with that, though, is that we've been observing this website on a minute-by-minute basis for a week at this point, and we saw data fluctuations. We saw numbers changing from minute to minute. And those fluctuations, when they would appear...
Whatever happened to those? Whatever happened to the Doge dividend checks we was gonna get? We're saving so much money, right? You're gonna wish we didn't save so much money. Where are the Doge dividend checks? Right. I need those. You know, they say give the destroyer of the heart. I'll take the gift and it won't destroy my heart. I promise you that. Oh man, I will take the gift and I promise you it will not destroy my heart. But you promised those. Where are they at? I do not see. I checked my bank account. It still says struggling right now. Right. As it's right now struggling. Yeah, but where is that? Oh, matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up, Ariella. Have y'all heard about that explosive diarrhea virus that's going around? What if I told y'all Doge was the reason why we have that? America used to release a certain type of fly to eat that type of virus off of vegetation and where it grew at. Elon Musk, in his infinite wisdom of being autistic, right? In his infinite wisdom of being autistic, says, you know what? We don't have to pay for that. Why are we paying for that? And you know what follows that? Diarrhea for everyone, right? That's on the menu. I'm sorry for everybody who's eating right now. It's on the menu for everyone. That's why, like, when I go to Taco Bell, I tell them, hold the lettuce. Hold the lettuce, right? I don't want no, hold the lettuce. I'm not getting coleslaw. I'm a person who eats coleslaw. I like coleslaw. I like cabbage, right? I'm saying no, none of that. No, I'm good. I'm 135% straight on that. But the reason why we have that is because of Doge. That's what they've done, right? That's what Doge has done for you. Just that's where we are in 2026. But this year is crazy. Of course, this is going to happen on America's 250, right? Right. No nation made it past 250.
Here on the website and be reproduced by people who are looking to it as the source info for casualty info led to widespread scrutiny, whether it was from the media. And
is anybody surprised that the Pentagon was hiding the amount of U.S. casualties? Because I'm not surprised at this whatsoever.
It was all Pentagon on that.
More than 600.
The number was 18 last week while he was justifying
fucking heart attack, and they're like just not really giving us any $1,000 Shahed drone, and we're missing. We're fucking missing. We can't even take them out. And then they're beating us.
What I want to
co-produce missiles and weapons with the United States now. Just saying, let us produce them at this point. We can do it just as quickly.
I still want to. There's a lot of topics I want to get to. Right. There's a third topic that I want to talk about the oil and energy crisis that I wanted to get to too. So there's threefold different things. It's a packed show today, bro. Like buckle up, right? And I'm gonna be making some partitions of these too. Right, so let's continue.
And so the Ukrainians could probably produce those missiles even faster than we could. All right, now the last thing I want to show you, I have a little map of the Earth here. The Earth is rectangular. No, I'm kidding. But what I wanted to do was just try and draw lines so that people can understand how this is absolutely a world war. So with the red here, I'm going to use a...
So yeah, what he's going to do is he has a political map right here, and he's going to show how this is shaping up into a world war. He's going to draw the lines, like he's going to color code the people who's aligned, right? I think red is going to be like the United States and Israel and all that. I think black is going to be I was going to make a funny joke there. I'm not going to do that. But the red is the black is going to be the people who line up with Iran. Let's continue.
Red marker here to show you the U.S. aligned partners, or at least try to point them all out, because there's so many, it's actually hard to understand. So the United States of America is at war with Iran, okay? Ukraine is now bombing Iran. The United Kingdom is allowing us to use their bases and sending jets over there. So that all the way over to Iran. At the same time, the Australians are also providing us with weaponry against Iran. You also have Saudi Arabia is helping us with Iran. You also have the Gulf coastal nations who are like right over here. We'll go with like Oman and whatnot, bombing Iran. And I guarantee you there's more. Now we're going to swap the color over to black so we can talk about the Russia aligned, the Iranian aligned. So Russia is helping out Iran, giving them intelligence. The Iranians are also helping out Russia. China is helping out Iran. China is also helping out the Russians. North Korea is helping out the Russians. What else? You have the Houthis in Yemen. They are helping out Iran. You have, how could I forget Israel? Let me swap this back to red. You also have Israel here is bombing Iran. Then you have, let me swap this back to black. You have the Yemen Houthis over in Lebanon. You have Hezbollah is helping bomb Israel. You also have Hamas in Palestine, which would be over here. You also have Syria involved. You also have Iraq involved. So pretty much the entire fucking world.
Syria and Iraq involved. That's important to know for what I'm about to show y'all next, right?
Canada is also helping us out. But pretty much the entire fucking world is in the middle of a conflict all around Iran, all around this fucking place. And you still have motherfuckers who refuse to call this a fucking world war. This is a powder keg, bro.
So all of them are convening here in this area. Do you know what happens to be there in that area? Let me do this. Right? The Euphrates River. That is important to know, right? You know, you got the Caspian Sea over here. But this area is where all of this is being centralized at. The Euphrates River. Anybody who's been paying attention to prophecy and have read the Bible and who's astute should know why that is monumental. Why all these powers are circling around this area. It's because of this. Revelation chapter 16, verse 12, right? It says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And it's been like, all right, I see, beat me to it in the spirit, right? Beat me up to it. It's been drying up for years. Now, when we see in the midst of it being drying up for years, we see a worldwide conflict in this area with people taking sides. The Western powers are all over, you know, you got America, NATO, EU, Israel, right? Everybody aligned with the West on this side. And then you have everybody over here being the kings of the East. They're being prepared for what? War with the people of the West. That's what they're being prepared for. Look at this. I'm going to start at verse 14. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. Armageddon, World War III. We see things shaping up to where this could be. 2nd Ezra 9 talks about we have to pay attention to the signs that are coming. And in those signs, we see part of the signs being fulfilled. We know that it is the time where the Most High will come and visit the earth which he created. How is he going to do that through his son? Right? But this is one of those signs. There's going to be a great world war, Armageddon, and it's going to be centralized here in the same location. In this same location where people are already taking sides at. That's where we are. And that's important to know for us specifically in Babylon, because when we keep reading, it says, and gathered them together into one place called in the Hebrew tongue, Armageddon. It says, and the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done. See what's done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. What is this? This is the war commencing. This is it in full. This is full scale World War III commencing. And this is John the Revelator. John the Revelator seeing this and trying to but write this down the best he can with what he's seeing. He don't know what a missile is. He doesn't know what a nuke is. He doesn't know what a Moab is, but he's describing it the best he possibly can. That's what he's seeing right here. The earthquakes are those hitting various different places, which would also mess with the tectonic plates that would cause earthquakes in other places and tsunamis and volcanoes to erupt. Look at this, which can cause a nuclear winter because they could shut off the sun from us being able to see it, which will go right along with prophecy about how the sun will be darkened. But I digress in that. It says, and the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell, World War III, and great Babylon came into remembrance before God to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. So during this Armageddon, in the middle of it, Babylon's getting cooked. Babylon itself is getting cooked. Babylon falls, right? So I highlight all of this to let y'all know that if there's supposed to be a war at this general location, where people are already making and taking positions and making allies and alliances to go to war in this specific location, we could almost be here. And when we come to this, Babylon is going to fall, which lets you know we don't have that much time, which also means we don't have that much time before the mark of the beast and the image being implemented. Because before Babylon falls, the mark of the beast, Revelation 13, right? Since Isaiah, I believe Isaiah 55 talks about the word of the Lord doesn't go out void. So if he makes a prophecy, it's going to happen. So if we see this war on the horizon, we see that we're already reading in Revelation chapter 16. In the midst of that, Babylon falls. Let you know you don't have that very much time. That means these prophecies have to be coming very soon. Which means when you read this about verse 14, it says, and deceiveth, Revelation 13:14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he gave power, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So this has to happen. So if Babylon's destruction is looming over the horizon, that means this is also looming over the horizon. And what is that image? Anybody left of center. If you were left of what MAGA, like MAGA, like Republicans and MAGA, they have their whole ideology of what they think MAGA is. They just want to just make America good for the white man. That if you were left of that and you don't agree with that, that is the image of the beast. If you are not down for his death cult and what they believe in, because it's not even just a Trump or MAGA thing. That MAGA has existed before Trump has even decided to run. That whole ideology of what white supremacy, things good for the white man, white Christianity, these people, these small hats and shekel shackers over here, the true Jews. If you are not down with that, it's going to come a time to where you are going to get put to death. That's what it is. And it's going to be, people are going to be threatened by that. That's when we go see who's really about this truth, to be honest. It says in verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, which is crazy because, like, at the same time as this war is going on, this war itself, as like what's going on in America, this war is triggering an economic crisis, which could cause the dollar to fall. Did y'all hear about what happened in Japan today? Japan's currency and what they got going on is in a free fall right now. For this mark to take place to where if you can't buy or sell, like it says in verse 17, the dollar's got to be out of the way. You see how this is all lining up? We may not have very much time. I'll tell you that right now. We may not have very much time. That's why things like this is important to talk about and important to pay attention to, instead of just being somebody just looking at, oh, I'm waiting for football season. Or I'm just waiting I'm about to see what LeBron's going to do in Philadelphia, which, I mean, if we somehow make it toward the end of that season, they're going to win, right? There's going to be 2 parades in the city of Philadelphia, one with the Sixers and one with the Eagles, but my bad, right? My bad. But we shouldn't just be so fixated on sports, right? And all these things and being entangled with the things in the world. We need to be paying attention to geopolitics, or at least to the same amount as you do with the world stuff, at least, right? It's important to know these things and pay attention to these things. Now, going back into this, going to Babylon's destruction and all of that, I want to read something. So let's go to Revelation chapter 18. So what we read in Revelation, the 16th chapter, is everybody's going to, like, the great Armageddon war, World War III, is going to coalesce at the river Euphrates. We see everybody already gathered there. We see as a result of this war, Babylon's going to fall. So let's read about this fall and see what's going to happen. So Revelation 18:1, after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Right? Trade. Verse 14. Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. I say this all the time. This is Israel being called up out of America. The believing elect being called up out of America. How do we know that? The plagues that Babylon is going to take is fire, that destruction, which we read in Isaiah, Revelation 16, and Isaiah chapter 13. That's why I said Isaiah. But that's what her plagues are. So you're going to be saved from these plagues. So come out of her, my people. What that's going to look like is this. Let me see. Right here. All right. So, and this kind of cuts the whole Gentiles are going to be saved from Babylon aspect. This and what we pulled earlier. So Matthew 24 and 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened. That's what I was talking about earlier. The sun will be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, His elect, right? I'm doing a lot, right? But gather together his elect. The elect is the chosen, his chosen of his chosen, right? Who are the chosen? Israel. From the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So the elect are being saved. This is them being called out of Babylon, them coming up hither. That is this. Now look at this. Let's go back to this Revelation 18. So Revelation 18:4 is saying, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Now, how do we know this is the Israelites? Because number one, in Matthew chapter 24, it says he's bringing the elect out of here. Right? And it says my people. In Zechariah 2, where people go to say, oh, the Gentiles are going to be saved right around the Israelites. They're gonna join Israelites and be the Lord's people. Well, in Zechariah 7 and through 9, it talks about how Israel's now saved from Babylon. Then the other nations join to be the Lord's people, which really takes place later after the wars. Because I mean, that what kind of sense does that make, right? When it takes place after the wars, then they become the Lord's people by accepting our ways and being servants, right? That's when they become the Lord's people. So all the way up until this point, on this side of salvation, the Lord's people has always been Israel. These are the people who are going to be delivered and called up out of this place. And then, verse 5, for her sins reached unto heaven. That's why in Revelation, the 16th chapter, it says Babylon. Let me see before I misquote that. Where is that? This right here. Revelation 16. Yeah, it says, and the great city was divided into three parts, and the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came into remembrance before God. That's what we're reading right here in Revelation chapter 18, verse 5. For her sins are reached unto heaven, and God remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled to her double. Right? So, and jumping down to verse 8, just so we can get to the point. It says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judges her. That's the end right here, right? With the fall of Babylon. That's this. Now this continues. Revelation 19. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, right? And you know when people say, what is that? What is that? Freaking, what's that? What is that? When OT only, this is a quick side quest that'll help all of y'all out, right? When OT only say, where is the Lord's name at in the New Testament? Like, where is it literally said? When you see right here, Hallelujah. This right here. This is literally that. It says praise, it's praise Yah. But look at this. From Hebrew origin, it's got the shorthand version of Jehovah, right? Or Yahweh, or Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, right? Then you have halal, which is going into the praise, to shine. Praise or to shine. This is where you see that name in the New Testament. So just a little side quest. What is it? Here, Oz, let me, you need a link? Let me see. This link is for Oz Gadar only. So let's go back to. Let me know when you get on to. So let's go back to Revelation 19 and 1. It says, after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our God. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants. Right? How do you do that? Because the people who hear the nation of these people who harass us, who oppress us, have been destroyed. Not them being saved with you, they have been destroyed. That's why you see things like this. Ain't really a side quest, but it kind of is. This right here. Isaiah 14:21 about the destruction of Babylon. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, for what their fathers have done. They can't apologize for what their fathers have done, right? Also, all praise to the Most High God for this graceful donation, my brother. I can't see your name. All it has is your handle. I think it's Z's123. May the Lord bless you 100-fold. Right? It doesn't show me your actual name on here. It just shows your YouTube handle. So it says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, right? That they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, a remnant, and son and nephew, saith Yahweh. Right? Oh, Z's. I think that's how you say it. Z's. Okay, Khan. I'll praise for your donation, my brother. Right. So it says we'll cut off from Babylon the name, the remnant, the son, and the nephew. All of these people, the people of this nation, they're cooked for what their forefathers have done. They don't get this. They don't get to apologize in 2026 and say y'all are the Israelites and hand you $40 and 40 acres and a mule and now get to escape what their forefathers have done. That's not what the prophecies say. Right? Let's be honest. So let's go back into this. That's what it means by avenge their blood. So back in Revelation chapter 19, verse 2, is have avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again, they say, hallelujah. And her smoke rose up forever and ever. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshiped God that sat on the throne, saying, Amen, hallelujah. And the voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise our God, all ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude, as a voice of many waters, and as a voice of mighty thundering, saying, Hallelujah, the Lord God omnipotent reigneth. Right? Then it goes into the marriage of the Lamb. And it says the saints. Who are the saints? The people who, these saints right here, the people who were delivered out of Babylon. Right? These are the elect. These are the same people. Saint means set apart, right? Or holy. Right? Set apart ones. Who are the set apart ones? The elect, the Lord, the people who the Lord chose. Who are the people who the Lord chose and who he knows and who he foreknows? Amos chapter 3 tells you that. Israel. That's who's being brought up out of this place. And this. What tribe of Israel said? Israel's Gadar. Look at that, man. Keep it everywhere, man.
Shalom, good.
What doth it do?
Hey, man, just out here enduring.
Look.
Finding out you can't eat lettuce, you can't eat berries, everything.
Hey. I don't know if the berries are okay. I've been eating blueberries. Hopefully.
You gotta wash everything up.
But look, they said they can survive. They can survive bleach. Like it doesn't matter how much you wash the vegetation, they can survive it.
Oh well, yeah. You just gotta if you ain't keeping the commandments, bro. I don't know what
to tell you.
You ain't keeping the commandments, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
If you ain't keeping the commandments, I don't know what to tell you, bro. It is what it is. And look, man. Hopefully, you know, because that like what I've been seeing from that, like the stories that they're drinking water and then.
Yeah, bro. It's wild.
They're blasted off like Team Rocket.
Yeah, bro.
All day. I don't want none of that. Right?
You ain't got right with God now. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
I don't know what to look right now. I have no idea what to tell you.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing for you.
Let's look at this. Let's go into this energy crisis. Then we can go into these Zionists bugging out, right? You know, Tucker Carlson. You know, he's trying to go against the whole deep state plan. He is trying to start his own political party, but he's going to talk about the economy.
Iran and the countries around Iran produce about 20% of global
oil. Wait a minute. Hit that like button. While y'all edit, hit that like button. Leave a comment. Tell me how you doing, Rome. Tell me how you're enduring in Babylon the Great, because like I'm holding on by a thread. I think the reason why the Lord allows me to hold on because I'm a valuable tool.
Hey, that's what we be hoping, right?
You get a little bit of use out of me right now.
Come on.
Right. But hit that like button, you know, if it be upon your heart, because I got this going on. We're simulcasting on Houston and in Dallas right now. Right.
So y'all leave a like on the Masadas page, and also for the brothers out here, because I'm Oscar Deacon of the Jeshurun. Y'all leave a like on that page too. That too. Right. And if you want to give alms, you can support both camps, both organizations. You know, alms cover a multitude of sins, right? If it be upon your heart. Yeah, and I know y'all got some, so come on. Bro, see, and I've been waiting for somebody to say something about that, because you know they used to remember I don't know if you read this in the class.
But you know, Samuel, before they went to go inquire from the prophets, they went to bring him some shekels.
Yeah, they brought him something. I want to break down on me. Hey,
the prophet said you got to come up off of them shekels.
Hey, bro, we laboring out here. Come on, bro.
I'll just play, bro. Well, I mean, it literally says that, but
yeah,
I'm just joking about the way I'm using it. But yeah, let's go.
What's ever in your heart? You're just joking, bro.
Yeah.
Russia, meanwhile, produces about 12% of global oil supply. So these are the biggest energy producing regions in the world, and the wars have gravely affected their ability to produce that energy and to ship it anywhere else and to refine it for that matter.
Overnight, the Houthis claimed they struck 2 Saudi tankers in the Red Sea. This image from NASA appearing to show at least 1 ship on fire. All of this pushing oil prices higher once again. Brent crude now topping $100 a barrel.
Oh, yeah. You heard that right. Brent crude now topping $100 a barrel.
And this is a few days ago. It went down a little bit because, you know, the oil markets, anytime Trump does anything, as soon as he stops firing missiles, then it just drops for some reason, right? But anytime we go back to immediate hostility with Iran, it jumped right back up to 100. Because I'm telling you, them strategic reserves, they're running real short.
They got to do something.
And he ain't go. What's up?
I said they got to do something to get this oil.
Yeah, they got to do something. So they're running out of time because there's no oil's been going to America and all these other places. Like it's literally been stuck there. So they're running out of time. That's why Trump did what he did. They had to convene and figure out what they're going to do because bombing isn't working, right? Propaganda's not working. Nothing's working, and y'all don't have no oil. So this is what we're getting right now with these energy crises. So yeah, it says it went up to 100 and it went down right now as it is right now. This is going to go right back to where we are in this video as soon as he returns back to hostilities. So this is still relevant.
And things are about to get a lot worse because based on the movement of U.S. military assets and a surge of troops into the Middle East, it looks like Trump is looking to escalate the war against Iran, which, you know, doesn't really bode well for the Houthi blockade in the Red Sea. Doesn't bode well when it comes to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. But he's going for it anyway. That's who Trump is. Just totally unhinged, total lunatic. Clearly doesn't care about the health and well-being of his own country and certainly not the global economy. So Tucker Carlson dedicated his latest monologue on this very matter. And I appreciate it so much because something that has driven me crazy, not just during this war, but for years now, is this whole notion of we need to drill more here in the United States to be energy independent. Now, whether or not you think it makes sense to drill more, put that aside. Because what I want to address is the topic of energy independence, which makes no sense when you have a globalized energy market, meaning oil and gas companies sell their product to the highest bidder on the global stage. Unless we nationalize, our oil and gas, you actually really can't do that. I don't know if you guys know this, but we are the top exporter of oil and gas, but we also import a ton of crude. And that's because our refineries here in the United States can only refine a certain type of oil that we can't drill for here in the United States. So we import it from other parts of the world. It is a global economy. There's no such thing as energy independent. We don't have nationalized oil and gas companies, okay?
So what they're saying is you can't be energy dependent. It's sold to the highest bidder and throughout the entire globe. So that's the way supply and demand works. You're not just competing with people in America, you're competing with the globe. With the Strait of Hormuz down, that's less supply with even more demand. That's why the prices keep shooting upward when Trump goes back to hostilities, because that notion of it could be over any day now goes out the window, and we have to deal with reality that we don't have oil, right? And the type of oil we need, we can't produce here or drill for it here. So we need it. America needs it to flow, and not only is America, the global economy needs it to flow, and it's not. You said something?
No, I was just agreeing with you. Like, everybody needs this oil. So if Iran doesn't open up these gates, bro, it's just somebody's gonna go to war. Somebody's gonna come take it.
It's gonna come to a point. They're gonna have to come up off it. Yeah, and I'm telling you this right now. If they try that with Iran, because the only thing they can do is some modern warfare, we're about to just put boots on the ground. I think modern warfare, that's old school. But if they try boots on the ground, look, that day it's going to be a real dark day in America. It ain't gonna be no more remembering 9/11. They're gonna be remembering when Trump was a retard.
Yeah.
Now, I think we should have a discussion about potentially nationalizing one oil company. And the reason why I think we should do that is because we should have an entity that's hyper-focused on keeping our strategic petroleum reserves full, But anyway, and that way, when we have a crisis like this, it can mitigate wild spikes in energy prices. But, that would actually take strategy, planning. We don't have a government that has any interest in that. So getting back to Tucker Carlson, he addresses the already poor conditions we're dealing with when it comes to energy and how much it's gone up in recent weeks and months. And the fact that these wars continue, not just in Iran, but also the Ukraine-Russia war, where Ukraine is hitting some of Russia's oil infrastructure, their refineries and stuff like that, that is causing a really big problem when it comes to the supply of energy on the international stage. Take a look.
This war, combined with the war that we're waging against Russia in Eastern Europe, have completely shut down probably a quarter of the world's energy. And
a quarter. Remember what I said earlier about how oil is sold in like you're not competing with your own country, you're competing with the supply and demand of the world. 25% of that supply of the entire world's energy of the oil has gone off the market. So anybody knows anything about the bare like essentials of business, when the supply goes down or demand goes up, prices goes up. Now, when we continue to lose more oil, the price is going to skyrocket and people going to have to make decisions.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we hit. That's where we at, bro.
What does that mean? Well, it means poverty and disaster, and almost certainly famine in some places in Africa, because, of course, half of all global fertilizer is derived from natural gas.
Yep.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And, of course, Africa got to suffer. And anytime something happens like this, Africa got to suffer, bro. Right? Every single time. It's crazy. And we're not going to be like, oh, all the Africa's Hamites. We got our people there too, right? We're not gonna just be stupid and pretend like Israelites aren't in Africa. There's not a lot of them. I mean, like in comparison to the Hamites, but they are there.
They're there.
They're there. Right?
Means a readjustment downward of the standard of living of people, certainly in Europe, almost certainly in the United States, and definitely in parts of Asia.
And the mention of fertilizer doesn't get mentioned enough, because aside from an energy crisis, what we are playing with here is a food shortage, a global food shortage, because
there it is. You're playing with a future of food shortage. You know what that reminds me of? The same chapter in Matthew chapter 24. Look at this. Verse 3, Matthew 24:3. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world, right? Or the end of the age. When you look down, part of that is verse 6, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. When does that end happen? Armageddon. But the end is not yet. Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places. They just had an earthquake out there yesterday. Let me see real fast.
I think we had an earthquake that hit. If I'm wrong, I think we had an earthquake that hit like close to Galveston,
and that's unheard of.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see if I'm tripping.
You see it. See, Steve Ram had it on there yesterday. What was this? Checks. What was that? Yeah, a 7.1 hit Japan yesterday, bro. No, 10 hours ago. 10 hours ago. That's where we at right now, bro. That is where we at right now. I remember seeing that yesterday. We're on the brink of food shortages. Bro, I went to HEB, allegedly had the hookup, allegedly, right? I went to HEB and was trying to run my play there, and allegedly, right? I spent $150 on the groceries. Bro, I only got like 4 or 5 bags, bro. 4 or 5 bags. 4 or 5 bags of groceries, $150, bro. It's getting out of hand. They say grocery prices have went up like in the last year or so. I guess like just last year, about 25%. Just imagine if we have a fertilizer crisis, it's over with. It's over with. That's where we at right now, man. And I felt that even though I was running a play, man, you know.
It's a lot, but yeah, we had a magnitude 5.0 earthquake on the Texas Panhandle. It wasn't near Galveston, but we're having earthquakes out here in Texas. So it's like
that's unheard of.
Yeah, bro.
It's crazy, man.
A third of the world's fertilizer also transited through the Strait of Hormuz. And so right now, farmers are having a hard time getting their hands on fertilizer, or it's incredibly expensive because there's limited supply on the market.
Oh, and what does that mean? If they're spending a lot more money on fertilizer, they're buying less and passing the savings on to you. And by savings, I mean increasing the prices.
Yeah.
They're passing what they say, a family wacky waving inflatable tube, man. And we're passing the savings on to you. No, they're passing the burden onto us. That's what they're doing, right? That's what we got to deal with. And I'm telling you, bro, in Texas, I mean, I can't speak for the niggas outside of Texas, but living in Texas, they're not gonna take that for us. They're not gonna take that. Maybe a few months. I don't think they're gonna take that past few months, bro. Decisions are gonna be made, right? And a lot of those decisions are gonna be made with violence, if you know what I mean.
So, and let me also just quickly note, there are countries that have already been rationing gas, rationing oil, because of the fact that they've been hit even harder than we have due to this war against Iran, due to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. So with all of that in mind, I want to go to my favorite part of his monologue, where he took jabs at the disinformation coming out of the likes of our Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Take a look at that.
Take a look at the Secretary of Defense. This is in June. On a Network Sunday show, is asked about energy and the effect of this war on energy. And here's how the Secretary, I beg your pardon, of War responds to the question. Watch.
We have a totally different energy dynamic around the world. By the way energy flows today, the straits will be nowhere near as relevant 1 to 2 years from now. Because of the foresight of President Trump, he's made us energy independent at home. We're a net exporter. Now Venezuela through our partnerships. Now we're killing foreign terrorist leaders who have terrorized the American people. The amount of drugs and gangs that came.
Yeah, energy.
It just sounds like a script, bro. Yeah. They just got a script. You can't be energy. Like, I've been doing this for years. You can't be energy dependent. That's not how it works. You're supposed to be in Trump's cabinet. This guy, Pete Kegsbreath, is one of the dumbest people I've ever seen in politics in a while outside of Trump.
Side of President Trump, he's made us energy independent at home. We're a net exporter. Now Venezuela through our partnerships. Now we're killing foreign terrorist leaders who have terrorized the American people. The amount of drugs and gangs that came.
Yeah, energy prices are pretty high right now.
It's a huge deal.
So I don't know that the independents
are coming down. And you've seen it. They are.
There was a very specific point.
They're coming down. You made them high, nigga.
Yeah, bro. He's tripping. He's tripping. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. He's tripping.
Well, they're coming down. What do you mean they're coming down? You made them high. What the heck? That's like me shooting you. He said, well, I took you to the hospital.
Yeah, I like to say. Once you get better.
What's up?
I say it's the same equivalent. It's like somebody shooting you and they're telling you, well, I helped you get better.
I helped you get better. The nigga, you shot me.
In there. And it was, look, the Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed. Like, that's measurable. Everybody knows that. It's been closed since April. You kind of can't lie about that. But it doesn't really matter because the Strait of Hormuz is basically becoming irrelevant. Like, really, who cares about the Strait of Hormuz? It's just 20% of global energy. No one really cares because the energy dynamic is changing.
Do you know your brain rot index? No, of course you don't. I didn't either because I didn't know what it was. But turns out you might.
We arrested Maduro and his wife and put them in a cell.
By the way, don't tell Andrew. But if you're on Wi-Fi, you also don't use your data, so you're going to get money back anyway. QIT.com/switch.
Because we arrested Maduro and his wife and put them in a cell in New York. And so the energy dynamic is changing. So, of course, in real life, it doesn't mean anything because it was spoken by someone who doesn't know anything.
I mean, look, that was a mild criticism, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Pete Hegseth might be the dumbest political figure in the country, maybe even dumber than Trump. And that's just because he's better at articulating his dumb statements doesn't mean that he's smarter. He's so dumb. And I think the thing about Hegseth that's so infuriating is he's both dumb and a liar. And a liar. And that was on full display at the Senate Appropriations hearing this week. Okay, well, putting that aside, that was a statement from Tucker, right? He doesn't know anything. Okay, so what does he need to know? And this is the most important part. What does energy independence actually mean? And is that even possible in our context? Well, he addresses that in the next video.
So pre-war, which is to say on February 27th of this year, about 20 million barrels of oil, not even including LNG, but let's just stick to petroleum, oil. About 20 million barrels per day were moving through the Strait of Hormuz. So that's a huge amount of energy to make up for. How are you going to do that? Well, of course, with Venezuela, which we know from listening to the president has the largest oil reserves in the world. But does it matter? Well, it doesn't matter if the oil's still under the ground. So how much oil is Venezuela exporting now? Well, the good news is the number is up. What's the number? Well, it's a little over 1 million barrels a day. 1 million barrels a day. Now, keep in mind, the Strait of Hormuz allowed 20 million barrels a day to go through before the Trump administration decided to kill
1/20th amount of the oil that you got from Venezuela. Bro, Benjamin Netanyahu went over there with his song and dance. Like, well, you took Venezuela, they might shut down the Strait of Hormuz, but you still got Venezuelan oil. It's 1/20th the amount that was on the market. The Strait of Hormuz contributed to 20% of all the oil in the global market. Venezuela accounts for 1 million. It's like, it's funny, but it's not funny, but it's really funny all at the same time, right? It's really funny because you're a moron. It's not funny because it's like, okay, now we got to be incredibly inconvenienced because you're stupid. And then it's also funny we have to watch your death cult try to support it. Right? That's what we have to deal with in 2026.
The elderly religious leader of Iran. Where do we get the extra 19 million barrels per day to make up for what we've lost in the Strait of Hormuz, which apparently no longer really matters? No hint, because there's no answer.
And he's right about that. No hint, because there's no answer. And this is something that I've been digging into pretty deeply in my research because I want to know if there is an answer. I want to know if there is some other no longer transiting through the Strait of Hormuz. So like I said, there are some pipeline projects in the works. Some of them have been sped up in order to, respond to this crisis.
That's pretty much it on that. But that's where the energy crisis, this right here could cause the dollar to get out of the way for the market of beast. This right here, this energy crisis, like we got to be paying attention to this. We got to be paying attention to this. Let's go into something a little different, right? Now for something completely different. So let me show y'all what the small hats are up to, because it's like these people, the small hats are shekel shaggers. When do they come? 1948.
The 48ers.
The 48ers. Look at this, right? Now this is going into how I know for a fact they want Hebrew Israelites to be arrested, and they want to do it. They want to do it in a new way. Watch this.
We're still fighting the Amalekite War. Just the name of the Amalekites has changed over time. What are we supposed to do about this mess? Okay, we've only been fighting for 3,300 years. Or if you start with Abraham, we've been fighting for 3,800 years.
Well, I need to read this first, right? So it says, I came up with this idea due to Al Capone. So this idea, he wants to arrest people who disagree with Judaism and shekel shaggery, right? Or moyam. Moyams.
Oh my God.
If you disagree with
Hey,
with
some oil, big bag of baby oil, man.
If you disagree with that, right? This guy wants to get you arrested. So Zionists in Israel are openly plotting to criminalize anti-Semitic speech as a way to throw political opposition in jail. Kenneth S. Abramowitz, now of course, formerly of the Carlyle Group, tells the 2026 Pulse of Israel conference that Jews are still fighting the Amalekite War and must criminalize anti-Semitism, BDS, Free Palestine, etc., as a legal incitement. Right? Is this not an open conspiracy to deprive Americans of their rights? What's that right? Freedom of speech. Now, This also applies to Hebrew Israelites because they believe we are anti-Semitic. And when you watch my videos, it doesn't quite help that, but it's
main culprit right here, bro.
I mean, I'm caught, but I'm just playing. Not really, actually, but I mean a little bit. But they want to jail people who disagree with their ideologies and Hebrew Israelites. Now we're going to see this. Let's watch their plan.
So I have another slide, and the title of this slide is...
Look at this slide, bro. Look at it. So they want to ban people who say these slogans, right? The slogan from river to sea, Palestine will be free. This is what they think it means. Implied meaning, genocide of all Jews and Christians in Israel. Theoretical solution. Look at this. The theoretical solution. This is what they want to do. Designate organizations and leaders supporting this platform, domestic and foreign terrorist organizations. That's what FTO is. You're a terrorist if you support this slogan. From river to sea, Palestine will be free. Globalize intifada, I guess is how you say it. What they imply that means is to unalive all Jews in the world. That's what they think that means, right? It says designate organizations and leaders supporting this platform as domestic and foreign terrorist organizations. If you say free Palestine, what does that imply? Unalive all Jews in Israel. Designate the organizations and leaders supporting this platform, domestic and FTOs, right? They even put Al Jazeera News on here. If you deny the Holocaust or October 7th, right, that implies you deny genocide behavior of Nazis and of Hamas respectively. So what are they going to do? Designate your organization and leaders as supporting domestic and FTOs. Oh my God. Oh. This is nuts, bro. Watch him say it.
Basically time to criminalize incitement to genocide. So you might want to say, well, why am I using this slide? Well, there's two ways to confront evil. There's more, but pretend there's two ways. One is directly, one is indirectly. The direct way to fight evil is to say we're fighting 21 wars. We're going to create a strategy for each of the 21 wars, the fronts. We're going to allocate the resources necessary to defeat the Reds, the Greens, and the Blues on 21 fronts. Well, that's very expensive, needless to say. And all democracies are undereducated. In other words, they have no clue in terms of knowledge because nobody wants to educate them. And everyone, as we say in America, all democracies are fat, dumb, and happy. And everyone just wants to have a good life. They don't want to hear about 21 wars. They don't want to hear about Reds, Greens, and Blues. They don't want to hear about doubling national security.
I can hear the victim in his voice, man. You can just hear the victimhood, man. You know,
security spending, they basically want subsidies for themselves. So that's the direct way to confront these bad guys. Now, there's an indirect way in that all the Reds, Greens, and Blues hate Jews. They're all anti-Semitic. They all hate God. They all hate morality. They all hate the rule of law. So if you could criminalize incitement to genocide, you could, in effect, put a lot of bad guys in jail without actually confronting them on the 21 issues that we're facing. Now, I came up with this idea due to someone that President Trump often mentions, Al Capone. Al Capone was a famous criminal gangster in the 1925-30 period of time. And he was guilty of anything a gangster can do. But he went to jail for tax evasion. They didn't actually do a trial and say, oh, you killed this person, you stole this money, you did this evil thing. No, they just took all the evil that he did and said, you never told the Internal Revenue Service that you were stealing all this money and you didn't pay taxes on it. So they arrested him for tax evasion and put him in jail. Incitement for genocide is the equivalent.
Did you see that? Why would you say that out loud? So you're saying incitement to genocide is the equivalent. So let's look at what that is. So incitement to genocide is a crime under international law which prohibits inciting, encouraging the commission of genocide. An extreme form of hate speech inciting to genocide is an incholate. I've never heard of that before. Incholate. How do you say that? Let me, here's Masada. We don't willfully be dumb.
Inchoate.
Okay, inchoate. What does that mean? Inchoate means something is just beginning to form, not yet fully developed or not left complete. Okay, right. So basically, doing some RoboCop, trying to arrest them before the crime starts. So an extreme form of hate speech, incitement to genocide, is an inchoate offense and is theoretically subject to prosecution, even if genocide does not occur, although charges have never been brought to an international court without mass violence having occurred. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people brought on charge on incitement to genocide for holding on to these slogans. to holding on to slogans like from the river to the sea, Palestine be free, free Palestine, BDS, right? Boycott Israel until all Jews are unalived and replaced by Muslim terrorists. That's crazy. Al Jazeera News, Holocaust and 10/7 denial, right? Defund the police. How is defund the police an incitement to genocide?
Because I mean, I want to say it, but I don't know, bro.
Oh my God, bro! Like this is crazy.
I want to say why. But...
Yeah. Don't say I'm already kind of brushing up against the guy.
I mean, I just find it funny. I just really find it funny that most things they're trying to go against is what mainly our people support.
Yeah,
like not even just Hebrew Israelites, just our people in general, blacks and Hispanics that do the protesting and stuff like that. They support stuff like that, and I find it really funny that now that's gonna bite us in the ass for having the right to express ourselves against the wrongdoing of our people. So it's kind of wild, bro.
Yeah,
or the wrongdoing of other people.
Yeah, because it's like what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do. Well, they didn't really commit a crime, but let's say they did this, and now we can lock them up. So now their speech can't hurt anybody, everybody's feelings no more. That's what they're doing. They're trying to circumvent the First Amendment. But y'all don't have that over there. Like y'all supposed to be the only democracy over there in the Middle East. Y'all don't have that over there. Don't try to come over here and bring your ideology. It's like the Californians that be moving in Texas. They come here and try to bring their ideologies. I just don't think everybody should have the Second Amendment. You know, you stay over there with that, right? You stay your ass over there with that. Just like with this, y'all stay your ass over there. But let me show y'all something. What's up?
I stay over there with that.
Yeah, stay over there with that. But watch this. Now they want to lock people up for it. Oz, you're gonna love this. So they want to lock people up for incitement to genocide. Like our speech hurts their feelings, and what we believe in hurts their feelings, so they want to arrest us because that's a quote unquote assignment to genocide to them. No, what I'm about to show you, this is the same exact day. This is hours apart. This is literally hours apart. This is a Jewish man. This is a Jewish leader. Watch this.
It is inevitable that President Trump is going to have to do what he doesn't want to do, which is go in there with this massive all-out attack. There's no other way to stop this. There's no other way to win this war. So, again, he's trying to do the best he can. He's a very nice man. I love President Trump. He doesn't want people to die. He really doesn't. Okay, he's a nice man. But there's no other way to end this. Once you start this, Midnight Hammer was great. Epic Fury was great. Once you start this, there needs to be a finish. And the only finish is complete surrender by the Iranians. I hate to say it, but complete annihilation.
Well,
complete. So genocide.
Oh, genocide.
So the genocide of the Persians. See, this is what I be talking about, bro. Like when people want to say when people want to say we're wrong for saying they're the synagogue of Satan, and they want to say we're wrong for saying these people that the Bible, the devil, the Bible speaks of. This is what I mean. They want to have a convention and want to lock people up who disagree with them being the Israelites and disagree with them owning the land, and want to say that's an assignment to genocide. But we'll turn around and say, well, Trump doesn't really want to hurt nobody's feelings. He really doesn't want to do this. But what I think he should do is a genocide.
Yeah. Annihilate everybody.
Annihilate all of Persia.
All right.
Like this, and this is the same day. These clips are the same day.
But if somebody says defund the police, I'm inciting genocide or trying to terrorize the Jews. That is, hey, bro. Look, the one thing I love about Amalek is they tell on themselves. We don't really gotta do too much explaining, bro.
They don't do too much explaining. I gotta read between the lines. It's just like, it is what it is. You're right. He said, "You, you buddy, good deal. Twice price." Oh my God. But this, I think this bonus actually.
I love President Trump. I love his
his
heart, I think, is really for peace. And he's always, I love that even now, this past week, he's still talking about peace and wanting to find and leaving that door open for negotiations. You say the only...
Leave it for... He just said he wanted to end an entire civilization. Like, come on, bro.
And is annihilation. Now, what if winning this war requires boots on the ground? I asked you that last time. That's not very popular with the American people. What is your response to that?
It's not popular with me either. Look, I'm not a parent of an Army person, a Marine person, so I'm very sensitive to that. Trust me. But look, we have the Army, we have the Marines for a reason. They're not there to shake your hand at the airport, Rachel. Okay? They're there for a reason. Last I checked, we don't have a draft in this country. So these courageous men and women know exactly.
We do now.
Yep, we do now.
We do now. Yeah, it's for y'all's war. We do now. Yes, we do.
What they're signing up for. This is war. We don't want to see anybody die, but this is war. A war that started 47 years ago that they started. So, yes, I know that the moral ground is to say, I don't want our kids to die. I feel the same way. But we got to win. No, we can win maybe without putting boots on the ground. Maybe we can. I don't know. I'm not Jack Keane. I don't have that type of information. If we can do that, great. But if at some point it requires putting some boots on the ground to win this war, that's why they signed up. To fight for this country, to fight for President Trump, and to rid the world of evil animals like the Iranian regime.
Can I ask, what does victory...
So they're evil animals.
Wow.
That's okay. That's okay to say. But to say, how about we have a two-state solution with y'all in Palestine? Anti-Semite! He's an anti-Semite!
I was just about to say, I'm like, bro, so what do we call y'all to just try to destroy all the Palestinians for literally no reason?
Yeah, for no reason, none.
They're bombing kids, blowing up hospitals for no reason. But if we was to speak out and say, hey, that's wrong, y'all shouldn't handle it that way. We're terrorizing Jews. This is crazy.
Bro, I forgot how to spell. I forgot how to spell. This is what they do with anti-Semite right here.
I saw him with mine own eyes depart the old yarn-yard with a pink woolen thread. Most shameful.
It's not pink. It's fuchsia.
Oh.
He's a knitter. Knitter. No, I'm not a knitter.
That's what they do. That's what they do with anti-Semite, bro. It's anti-Semite. That's what they do. I'm not a knitter.
They look like you. Are you serious? You really want just until they're annihilated and there's a regime change? Is that final for you?
That's it. I mean, look, I want to get the dust. I want to open the stray hole. That's important. But if you leave these animals in power, you are destined. Look, what is the definition of insanity? Do the same thing over and over again, expect different results. If you leave the IRGC in power, we're going to have the same issues in 5 years, in 10 years when the great President Trump, is gone. So we have no choice at this point but to go in there. And yes, regime change. I know it's two dirty words. That's part of winning the war ultimately. Yes.
That's what they want to do. That's genocide. That's what they want to do. So let's continue with this, though. Let's finish this out.
Of arresting Al Capone.
Then I'm going to show you how this applies to Hebrew Israelites. And also, hey, Oz, when I show how this applies to Hebrew Israelites, they're going to talk about something we're familiar with, man.
Yeah.
For tax evasion. Wasn't his real crime. His real crime was all the people he killed and all the money he stole. But the after effect was that he could be declared guilty for tax evasion. So just to summarize this in like 1 minute, go down the left of the page, and I have copies of this. If some of you want them, come up to me and I'll give you a copy. So, for example, when someone says from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, that's a euphemism for killing everyone in Israel. That's incitement for genocide. I think you should go.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Khazar Cass.
Run that back real quick. Let me hear it. Run that back real quick.
It's like I'm not a knitter.
If some of you want them, come up to me and I'll give you a copy. So, for example, when someone says from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, that's a euphemism for killing everyone in Israel. That's incitement for genocide. I think you should go to jail for that.
Bro, it's just like, you got me like, it's like, bro, like, I don't want to hear nothing about black people got to stop being victims and victimhood. I don't want to hear a fucking thing. If y'all going to keep giving these people money because, oh God, something happened to them a while back. You know what? How about they pull themselves up by their own tzitzits, right?
The same thing they tell us to stop having a victim mindset. We need to help ourselves. Why can't they do that?
Yeah, bro, they got a city. They have a city out there in Jersey. Yeah, I forgot what it's called, and 100% of the small hat population is on welfare.
Yeah, they don't pay anything. If you go out there and ask anybody, hey, what do you do for work? He gonna tell you, I'll just read the Torah. Then the guy asked him, well, what does your wife do? And the dude just kind of just stared at him and just walked off.
Yeah.
Like
anti-Semites.
But hey, when you tax when they're taxing you double, especially when they tax blacks and Hispanics double, because you can go look it up. That they do that. That's where they're sending your money to them so they can live freely and just do whatever they want to do.
Anti-Semites.
Yeah, I'm an anti-Semite now.
I'm not an anti-Semite. It's unreal, bro.
Globalize the Intifada. That's what the.
Well, they say pull yourself up. That's why I said they need to pull themselves up by their zits.
Yeah, bro.
The mayor of New York City, a criminal, foreign agent, illegal citizen who should be arrested and deported, he believes in number 2. Number 3, free Palestine. Again, that means free Palestine of Jews and replace it by criminal terrorists, death cults. BDS, boycott, divestiture, sanction. There's nothing Israel can do to protect itself. That's really calling for the annihilation of Israel. Al Jazeera, which is supported by Qatar, which itself is a criminal death cult, has their own death cult news station. Why didn't we close that down?
Why do we close down a news station? Bro, Qatar is an ally with America. What you mean? I thought y'all were supposed to be our greatest allies. What do you mean? What do you mean?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Come on, man.
Holocaust denial, defund the police, 12 are Shiite believers, and Sharia law. These are all, to me, should be forbidden. They should be criminalized. They all call for the deaths of millions of people, and they're all the words of various death cults. And we, the people who are free, have no responsibility to allow death cults to run free in our country or in our world. Let me just conclude with a quick thought. The forces of evil are good at being evil. The forces of good.
Yeah, it's y'all. Congratulations, Amalek. You're correct, right? You know, the forces of evil is good at being evil, man. Let me just drop the bomb for him, man. Yeah, you good at being evil.
Good are bad at being good. We have to close the gap between good and evil. Thank you very much for your time.
You hear somebody clapping real hard, real fast?
Somebody stood up.
Somebody stood up and just gave it to him.
Hard. Oh my God, bro. Hey, bro.
If he has one, he oh, look at this man walk away. Bro, I can't believe it, bro. I can't even believe it. But let me show y'all how this applies to us, because they want to criminalize just general anti-Semitic speech. After all the regions he took, it's general anti-Semitic speech. Now, how does this apply to you black folks, man? Look, let's go to the good old ADL, man. Let's go to the good old ADL, man, the Anti-Defamation League from the Chief of the Nations, right? So the Black Hebrew Israelites, the blacks. Well, let's see. Gotta say it like Trump. I was the best president for the black man since Abraham Lincoln, and I was probably better than Abraham Lincoln for the blacks. But yeah, let me read this. Yeah, it says, so there are many sects which were, let me zoom this in. I know if I can't read that, y'all definitely can't read that. Let me see. All right. Okay, perfect. It says there are many sects which refer to themselves with variations of the name Black Hebrew Israelites. Some, but not all, are outspoken anti-Semites and racists, right? So that they think that's us too. Yeah. You are not exempt from the list. Look at this. It says, and should be emphasized that the extremist and anti-Semitic sects of Black Hebrew Israelites are unrelated to the thousands of Black Jews and other Jews of color in the United States, right? And that's going to those Falasha Jews, who they call the fake Jews, what they really mean by Falasha, and the Black people who are in Judaism. So they had to go to them to get Judaism. So we're different than them. So it says, let's see, where did I stop at, right? Who are genuine members of the Jewish faith. Furthermore, they should not be confused with Ethiopian Jews who mostly live in Israel today. Anti-Semitic Black Hebrew Israelites, so that's us, Anti-Semitic Black Hebrew Israelites assert that white people are agents of Satan, Jews are liars, and false worshipers of God. Now, I mean, is that really far off? I mean,
now, are we lying when we say that?
I mean, we just see. I mean, it said Jews are liars. I mean, it just said incite the genocide is wrong, and then y'all just incited genocide. Oh God, Tyrone's back. Jesus Christ, take a day off, Tyrone. That's how I know my live stream is going up. As soon as my live stream starts doing numbers, Tyrone comes out of the woodworks.
Is that bro that made? Oh, he got them different.
Yes, bro. He's gonna
how
terrorize.
many channels do you got, Tyrone? Bro? How are you doing that?
I thought, like, you know how much time it take to make all them email addresses to remember the passcode to log into them just to be a douchebag.
Bro, just please, we gotta see if he comes back in here. Because you just banned it. I want to see him come back in here.
He's coming back, bro. It's never a one and done with Tyrone.
Oh right? Man, bro.
I'm saying that to hopefully jinx it, but you know, you know how it is, right? So it says, furthermore, they should not be confused with Ethiopian Jews who mostly live. Oh no, I read that already, right? And blacks are the true chosen people and are racially superior to other ethnicities. Now, what's crazy about that is Jewish people believe that as well.
Yeah,
y'all believe we are goyim. Y'all believe we're Kushi, right? That was just their N-word, you know. Same thing when I was working with Yodim, that the freaking Amalekites used to try to say to us, freaking Kushi. You know what that means? That means nigga. That's what that means.
That's what they mean.
That's what they believe we believe. That's what they believe we are. And they're superior to us going in, right? It says, today there are several noteworthy sects of Black Hebrew Israelites. For example, the Sakari Black Hebrew Israelites. Man.
Damn. Who's out there doing the work, man?
Damn. It says, are a San Diego-based anti-Semitic and a racist fringe religious group whose followers believe that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. They're an offshoot of a larger Hebrew Israelites, and Hebrew Israelites, and echo the majority of the movement's core principles, including the beliefs that white people are agents of Satan, Jews are liars, and false worshipers of God, and blacks are the true chosen people. Their leader, Adonis Glide, who is known as Alazar Beloya, or Hebrew Gorilla.
It's the Gorilla Hebrew.
It says, while preaching in public, members of this sect may aggressively engage passersby. Some members have also been involved with violent acts. What are those? Right? Because look, you didn't see me on camera. I promise you that. You didn't give me. But I mean, we don't gotta read all of this. But this is because it's gonna go into IUIC and then other places. But this is how they feel about us. If you can't say free Palestine, if you can't say that, and they say that's anti-Semitic, and that's a euphemism or a slogan to be like, oh, unalive all the small hats, right? If that's not okay, being a Hebrew Israelite definitely isn't okay to them. So this applies to us too. This is the project. Like how Ariella said. Let me go back to that. Let me put that back on here. Where did he say? Where did he say it? Where is it? All these people do is project, right? And they're going to be agents of the image of the beast. I'm giving y'all a new one. Well, they also say we're the agents of the image of the beast. Yes, that's what Yahya is putting on you. You guys are agents of the image of the beast because y'all are part of it. White patriotism, Christianity, small hats, or Jews. If you disagree with that, if you think yourself as a Jew, it is a problem. It is what it is. That's what it is, man. But I mean, that's the majority of the show. You got something you want to add, Osgadar?
No.
Anything you want to plug?
Just I would just tell people.
I told you he's back.
I'm not seeing. I said he's back. Hey, Tyrone, I'm gonna give it to you, but you cold with that. He cold, bro. That boy is cold with that.
I just don't have the dedication. I don't have that type of dedication. Like the amount I've probably blocked since I've had this channel, I probably have blocked like 30 of his channels. Like I shit you not, it's probably 30 channels. And he still has more, man. But he is crazy, bro. But he is crazy. Let me go ahead. You're going to do this all over again. But go ahead, let me interrupt you.
No, I was just going to say, like, for the people out there, bro, y'all need to just pray and fast and get your spirit up, bro, because as we see, we're getting closer to the end. And as it says in Daniel, you know, they're gonna come down hard on the saints, bro. And you gotta get your mind right for that, bro. Just being honest with you. So just keep a lookout for that, bro. Go ahead, yeah.
But yeah, like I said in the beginning of this, man, hit that like button on the video. You know, at the end of this live, go back and hype the video. If you truly love us and love what we do, go back and hype that video. You can't do it while it's live, but you can do it as soon as the live is over with. It's free. It doesn't cost y'all nothing. You can keep your shekels in your pocket, right? You can save your shekels when you want to buy that bottle of that yayin, right? No Hebrew, you know what that word means. You can buy it. You can save it. You can save it on your bottle of yayin, right? If you would like to support us, you know, Cash Out the Masada, also Cash App. What's y'all's cash tag?
I believe it's it should just be Jesron.
Oh, Jesron, right? We also got like I said earlier, we also have a PayPal for people who are outside of the United States who want to support us in the description box. Leave a comment, join the membership if you want to get access to the exclusive videos and footage that we got going on. What else? Ooh, what else? I feel like there's something every single time that I forget. Right? I don't know. There's gonna be more.
Man, tap in with the music. Tap in with the music from the brothers from Masada and the brothers of Jesron. You know we always dropping music, man. Y'all tap in with that, bro. Come support us.
Hell yeah, dude. From Masada and Jesron, we got talent out here, bro. Texas, we got talent. But yeah, what is that? Zondell, bro. I'm about to go to bed. Now, I'll tell you this. Hit my email. Hit me up on Facebook at Yadi Masada, or you can hit up Oz Gadar. Right? It's spelled just the way it's spelled on here. Hit up Oz Gadar. We can set you up with some smoke. Right? I gotta be at work at 8 hours. Right. So if you want smoke, you can set that up. We can do it live, we can do it off whatever. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to bed. Shit, I'm gonna eat my food. The Sabbath's over with. Oh, that's what it is. Now I remembered. I have a thing. I'm gonna put it in the probably in the community tab. So for everybody, now let me do this. Let me put it on the screen. So right, I told everybody I updated the website. I got
Yeah, if you're talking, you're going in and out.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, okay, you good now, bro. You stuck in the matrix.
I don't know what happened with that. That was wild. But yeah, like I told everybody, the last one I got the High Holy Days on here. And I created something today. To where you click the link and you download the file, and it will put every single one of these High Holy Days in your calendar in your phone. It will put the High Holy Days, it will have the Sabbaths, and it will give you alerts like how your phone does with your calendar. It'll give you alerts based off of those. Like my entire calendar is filled up till the next Hebrew year. Right. And I'm gonna put a link to that file on the community chat. So be on the lookout for that. So that way you don't have to keep going back either to the side or a screenshot and doing all that. It'll already be in your phone. Like let me show you this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See, yeah, y'all can't see that. I don't think y'all can see that because of the green screen. But yeah, all these parts right there that's getting blurred out by the green screen are all the Sabbaths and the new moons for this month. It's already in there. All you literally have to do is click the link and it's all in your phone. So I got all that right. So you better repent, heathens. You better repent. I'm not a knitter. But but yeah, man, I'm gonna say call Yahweh Ba, Shema Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, Shalom, y'all.
Shalom.